So we're back again. The usual reminders. If you go look at the description under the YouTube video, if you open that up, we've got the video is indexed, and there's a link out to our big index where got several years of those indexes pasted together. And then there's the a link to the original ROS agriculture index that I started one time. And I think there's a link to our YouTube videos that would include this video on that. And by combining all this stuff together, you can go search it and do wonderful things for that. And I need to create links that talk about the Slack backups, and I see those are due again, so I should do that sometime today. So that's probably close enough for all that stuff. So things I was going to talk about. Let's see if I go. I'll get rid of this crap. Let's say kill that. Make this bigger. So if I say share screen and display one. Okay, it looks like it's going out. So I ordered a couple of these sensors here. It's a BME 280, and this one has temperature and humidity and barometric pressure. And I ordered these because those first ones I bought. There's one laying here. And here, I should pull up a link to it, but I didn't. So let me say, well, I'll show it in a second here. So anyway, the first ones I got, it was like a DHT 22 or something, whatever they were. Those don't work for some reason. The communications adds just randomly will add an offset and run for a while, and then it subtracts the offset back off. And I have no idea why it's doing that. I can't figure out why it's doing that. So these, I think the sensor is actually made by Bosch, so I assume it'll work. And they're I squared C, and the original one was some funky one wire interface that they had defined. So anyway, I got a couple of these on order. They're supposed to show up sometime today, and then maybe I can get a decent humidity going. And the reason I want to know the humidity is because let's see if I stop sharing that. So the reason I want the humidity is because the humidity in my house has been extremely poor, and I've been sick the last week or so, and I'm setting up humidifiers to raise the humidity in my house if it'll fix the problem. So that'll just give me a way to track that stuff and see what it's doing. So that's that project. And then what's my next project? If I say I go here and say share. That's the one. And that's going out. Okay, so here's something I found on YouTube. And I started off, I just found one of these, and he's hooking to this. Here, let me open one of these here if I can find it. A fairly simple one. And anyway, he's using that, what do they call it? The cheap yellow display is what everybody's calling that. We'll just open this one here. And well, I hope that's not copyrighted. Let's see how can I get past that. Because once you get into it, he's got the only thing he's got bird sounds. Because I think he's Indian or something, so he didn't talk during the whole thing. So anyway, here's his board that he took out, and it comes with this cable here. Let's see. I assume you can see that. Let's see. You are sharing screen. Blah blah blah. Can you see that? Yeah, it looks like my cursor's going out. So anyway, it comes with one cable, and then he said, "Oh, you can go out and you can buy other cables." So somewhere he's got right here. He says, "Oh, you can go out on Amazon or Alibaba or wherever he's getting stuff." He says you can get these cables. I didn't realize these come in so many different sizes. These happen to be 1.25 at the top here. It says four pin and two pin JST 1.25 millimeter cable, and you can also get 1 millimeter, and you can also get 2 millimeter, and maybe some others. So whenever you order cables, make sure you get the one that'll fit. So he's got these 4 pin cables, and you can plug them into these connectors on the board here and hook it up. And then he goes through, and I was originally saying it seems like you only get 3 extra I/O pins on this whole thing. And I looked at it harder, and well, maybe you get a couple more than that. and down here is a connector that's got transmit and receive data. But it's like the Arduino Nano, where I think the transmit and receive pin on the Arduino Nano is connected directly in parallel with the USB to serial converter. And what that means is you can't use them both at the same time. Because I'm looking at random nerd tutorials and going through his thing describing this board. He says, "Oh, some people say you can't run GPS on this board because it doesn't work." And I just theorized that's the problem, that's connected together. So if you want to not run USB, you can still have the display. You can still run your GPS and display stuff on the screen, but you can't have the USB plugged in. You can't have them both communicating at the same time. So anyway, I found that page, and I'll post the link to that. And it just goes through this thing talking about the board. And there's if you look up that CY, what do you call it? CYD. Yeah, CYD, and he says cheap yellow display CYD. If you go look that up on YouTube, there was like a 27-minute video explaining the board and telling you how to use it. So anyway, I found that, and I didn't go ahead and order one of these boards. I'm still looking at um let's see, how do I do this? Let's see, stop share. So yeah, I just wanted to point out I found that, and if you're using the actual, just the regular modules, which I now got about 1 million of those around, but here's one here. So anyway, if you just go order one of these kind of boards, and you can hook it up like that, and this has a lot more I/O pins than that cheap yellow board. But so when I get my humidity sensors, I just need 2 pins for the I2C and hook it up, and hopefully that'll work. So that's something else I've been looking at and thinking about doing. And other than that, I guess I don't have anything important to say. So I'll turn it over to Al.
Okay, let's see. I'll mute. Start there. Not a whole bunch going on. Still trying to get my my XYZ manipulator hooked up. So what the progress has been to get these parts cut, printed, assembled, glued, and I've got those arms put together. Now I need to connect the arms to this horn. I've ordered those screws from McMaster-Carr, and hopefully they'll be here today so I can finish putting this thing together. One thing to note is this row of magnets. I'd use super glue to put those on there, and they're already coming off. So I don't know if that's just an incompatibility issue or I just didn't use enough. So I'll try to use 2-part epoxy the next time to get that on there. So this is a rather seemingly fragile installation, but we'll keep plugging along and getting that. The other thing I mentioned, trying to use a 12-volt pump on a 1924 well that was dug here in Texas, and bought some more parts for that, including PEX tubing and a Walmart RB battery that'll hopefully deep cycle. We'll see. It's interesting. They only offered a 12-month warranty on that. And then the last thing to keep me out of trouble, I had posted something on Slack channel. Well, I had this is also, I had done some programming to, you can't really see it very well, but that light is right. This is my pump house in Texas. The USB was thinking my coordinate was there, and I needed a way to automatically update that coordinate. So wrote a script to sort of auto center that, and In this, it was working partially, but I needed to make another adjustment. I checked it this morning, and it is spot on the center, which is awesome. I'm going to claim that as a success. The other sort of side project is, this is a receptacle to a what they call a communication receptacle. Basically, it's a 9-pin communication port to the onboard computer, and it spits out, I think, does RS 485 messages sound? Is that a protocol? Maybe I'm getting the number wrong. Anyway, there's a website, a forum where guys have sort of debugged like 40 different messages that this thing will spit out. So I don't have the $200 that I saw it costs to buy an actual military grade communication thing. So I'm going to 3D print something, and I found these circular pins that are 0.062 in diameter, and so I think those are going to be the right ones to use to kludge together some sort of communication port. I think I only need 4 pins. So that's what's keeping me busy at the moment. That's it for me.
So I said I was going to hold up that old humidity sensor. Well, they look like this. It's just a little blob. You can buy these on Amazon, and they do work, but I get this weird offset that, it'll be going along, and then all of a sudden it jumps by a significant amount, and then a while later it jumps back down to where it's supposed to be. And as I say, I can't figure out why it's doing that. I have no idea why it's doing that. So hopefully these new ones, when I try them out, they'll work. They'll work reasonably. There's something else I was gonna. Oh, nah, if I find the plots while people are talking here, I'll pull up a plot to show what that looks like. So that's again that I just interjected that. So I guess we're time to talk to Bob, I guess.
Oh, okay. I'll go to some pictures right away. And 210 and up. Oh, come on. Now, if I can find my photos. Whoop. Photos. Okay, let's go with this one. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. My first attempt, I had the keyboard control over motors, and that was using the letters A, S, D, A, blah, blah, blah. And then I got it to put everything on the keyboard. So on the left, eventually I got the motor controls run by the arrows, and then the letters would run the camera, and then I had speed control. And I went through a couple of iterations, try it and see what it looked like. And eventually it wound up with 1 through 5. Then I started monkeying around trying to get the Pi to talk to the Nano and vice versa, and I got all screwed up. It would make a recommendation, I'd do it, and it wouldn't work. So then I'd spend the next 10 of my precious questions trying to find out the answer, and then it shuts me off and says, come back at 2 o'clock or 5 or whatever it is. Here's the one thing I diagnosed why my Sabertooth died. It was because it measured 76 ohms, and I think they said you need several hundred. Yeah, should see several hundreds of ohms. like what Jeff suspected in the first place. Then I got hit with this thing. On the right-hand side, you see your remote contact or content was loaded through your VPN. Well, I never set up a VPN. I don't know how it ever got to it. But I found out that this is a program called Use AI. There's another one. And again, and I said, well, how do I get rid of it? And Claude came up with this, which I have not tried. I did do a lot of reading on Reddit and other places. And one person said, well, just hit the unscribe button for 24 hours. So I tried that, and that seems to work. Once in a while, I'll get a new email that has that unsubscribe button in it, but it seems like it's tapering off. So I'll give it another day and see if hitting that unsubscribe all the time works. If not, then I'll have to go back in and go for the change of signatures.
Bob, all these, the signature is, well, I've used signatures in the past, and I'm like, okay, regards Al Jones, and that's a signature. I think that's what these are. When this is saying delete it from your signature, this is assuming it's in your signature.
Yeah. So I don't know what, from what I've read though, that Use AI, everyone is saying stay away from, and it's all AI. There's no humans involved, and even their support center is AI. So you can't talk with a real person.
We'll go back to your first or second email about, because I don't understand this signature and VPN in the same conversation. To me, those are two separate conversations.
Let's see, where is that message?
You had it there.
Okay.
No, one before. Remote content was loaded by your VPN.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right here, upper right corner. Loaded through your current VPN. Say, well,
yeah, that's a complete different conversation than a signature conversation.
So I don't know how they ever got it in the first place. But one thing I do notice, like in where it says no reply, OpenAI 2, and that's my email address, but it's a capital B, and I only use a small b, so I don't know where they got that from. So it could be an old email address or something before I changed it to the little b. I don't know. I'll have to go through all of the 2 or 3 email programs that I've used in the past and make sure they're dead or I change it. So that's that.
So when you send somebody an email, does the signature from you show up? Use OpenAI? I mean, is this thing even in your signature?
I've made it a point not to send any email, but these are the notes I get from receiving email. So I think with Apple, everything comes in on a program called Mail, and then it can get sent over to Gmail. And that's where I've been getting all of my email now. So if I try and diagnose this thing more, I'll have to go into Apple's Mail and look through all the files and see what's going on there. But right now, it seems like if I hit the unsubscribe button, it seems to be working, and I'll know better within 24 hours. And then as a check, what I'll do is I'll email my wife and see if she gets anything. But I have to be real careful because she's really connected to a couple of organizations with a lot of people. So I don't want to spread anything.
Yeah, this that message is likely be coming from Gmail. Thinks somebody used a VPN to project some of the images in the email.
Yeah.
The signature thing is a completely separate conversation. Just that's my read of it. And
Yeah,
if you open up your signature and there's nothing there, then then you're good.
I'll take a look at it and spend some more time. It'll give me a good break from trying to develop the nanobot code. That thing's been really, really frustrating.
So can you go back to would you mind going back to your menu, your text-based menu with speed?
Right there. This I had working, showing up on my laptop.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and that was, all of that worked at that time. But where I got screwed up was when I was trying to get it to talk through the Nano and then to my iPad. So I got the IP addresses all mixed up. And I think I didn't set up the static IPs properly. So it kept changing. Another one, the latest one, I decided, well, I'll just start over and say in the same thread. And I said, here's the design changes. Just one PCA board, the MMMD, et cetera, et cetera. So it came back with put this on your Pi, put this on the Nano, and do this and this. And it put in there to use Pi GPIO. And that didn't sound right, but I did it anyway. And sure enough, after I wasted my 10 questions, it said, oh, that's not compatible with Raspberry Pi 5. You have to use another one. I think it's LIGPIO or something like that. So then it was going to give me a workaround where I could go in and delete all references to Pi GPIO. And then it said, oh, you've reached your limit. You can't do anything more until 2:30 this afternoon. And then, of course, it said, if you want to keep going, switch over to version 5 or something like that. And I said, I don't know. If you get caught into one of those, give us your number, your credit card number for now. Well, it's still free, but if you hit a certain limit, then we got to start charging.
So what changed from the time this menu was working to the time it's not working?
The minute I started trying to communicate over IP addresses.
And previous to that, you were not?
No, all I did was I SSH from the laptop into the Raspberry Pi. The Pi was connected through Ethernet, and the laptop was wireless. And I did Angry IP search and found the IP address. So I just SSH'd into that. And I was able to see this screen on my laptop.
So it worked. This black screen, just to confirm, was an SSH session into your RPi.
Yes.
That's awesome. Bob, that's fantastic.
it worked fine, but now, so I'll keep plugging away at it. It might take me another week, but
Why do you need to use? Why do you need to use?
Oh, not this, but I mean, I want this to evolve into using a browser on the laptop to see and control the robot itself. And so that means my Nano has to be communicating with the RPi over a Cat6 cable. And I can control all of that through the WebRTC. I want to see video and the controls on the screen, and just remote control it for now for WebRTC.
Okay. Don't lose this code, because if that works, then you can always SSH into your.
Yeah, I'm learning I'm getting fairly proficient at Nano, the text editor. So I make backup files. I have a text program called Notes on the iPad. So I try and put as much over on Notes just in case if I screw up, then I can recall it.
Cool.
So now I'm just going to let everything sit and kind of simmer for a while and go out and get distracted and doing something else. Then I'll come back maybe tomorrow I'll start afresh on it. But that's about all I got.
I'm good too.
So I got a couple more things here. I was saying my plots from my humidity sensor were looking stupid. Well, if we go, I found it here. So if I say share this and go to here, check, see what's going out. Yeah, it looks like. So on the plot here, see it's starting left here, and this is, I assume, all normal humidity stuff, and then all of a sudden, bang, it drops down with this offset, and here is bouncing back and forth a lot, and then runs for a while. I assume this is all correct, but it's got an offset, and it comes back, then bang, it pops back up here, and this is probably all valid stuff again. And I can't figure out why it's doing that. I can't find anybody else in the world complaining about this. So I have no idea what to do on that. And that was my point of getting these new sensors, and I'll try those out and see if they work any better. And then the other thing was, I was going to ask Bob. You said on your Sabertooth board,
yeah,
you said, well, now it's completely done. Well, have you only had one of those boards, or have you had multiple boards like that?
I think I had another one before we moved, and that got wrecked.
I remember you were saying originally that, it crapped out completely, and then later you say you're using it again, and then you say, it crapped out completely, and then you're using it again. So I'm just wondering, and this latest thing.
Yeah, I wrecked two of them.
Well, because this latest thing where AI is telling you, you should get a certain resistance on there. Did you measure that with the motor hooked up, and you had the motor hooked up to the board, and then you're measuring resistance at that point, or did you unhook the motor when you were checking that?
I unhooked the motor and took the board out of the robot completely, and then put a meter across it, and it read 75 ohms.
Okay.
So, but then it said it should have been several hundred ohms. But I don't know if that compensates for any inductance or any capacitance or whatever.
Yeah. And just keep in mind, AI might be lying to you too. It probably knows nothing about these boards, so So
Yeah.
keep in mind the boards may still be just fine, but
Yeah, we'll see it.
it's like when people go down the line and say, well, like you were just saying earlier, told you to do one thing, and it says, oh no, you can't do that because that doesn't work on a Pi 5. Well, I've heard other people saying, yeah, it insists you got to do it this way, and then later comes back and says, oh no, oh no, I didn't say that. No,
Yeah, that's
so
that's
I
what
hear a
I'm
lot of
getting.
people complaining about that.
Yeah. So you do have to know something of what you're doing. You can't rely strictly on step 1, step 2, step 3.
Yeah. Also on the homebrew robotics group, where Michael Wimble, he's the guy who's building some kind of say a healthcare robot, something he can have in his house driving around and help him out. And he had one PDF that he put out that says, is it a PDF or like a YouTube video, telling all about that. And then the next one he put out, I think it was a PDF, and it said, oh, here's let's see, how did he state that? Here's lessons learned from this project, and he's going down to the AI stuff. He had all kinds of comments about AI, and he's got an actual like a paid membership on something, and he's pointing out that well, he spent a lot of time with this stuff, and he says it writes really crappy code, and he just went on and on about all the things that it was telling you. And he says one of the first things you have to do is say, stop sucking up to me. I don't want to stop telling me how smart I am. Just tell me
Yes.
what I need to know. So I've
Yeah.
heard a lot of people say that. You gotta keep telling it, just shut up and move on. So
Yeah, I see a lot of that.
I guess that's all I had. That unless I brought up something else with somebody. So
No, I'm done.
okay, Al, you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay.
Let's see if I can hit the right button this time. Say stop recording.